Hey, Brian Parker coming at you with a brand new video, exciting video. Hey, got a question for you. What's the difference between a debit and a credit? If you don't know, you've got interesting company, a local dental care company, a dentist office, does not know that answer either. Why is that important? Well, a nice older lady hired me to help her because she was at her wit's end. She's 80 years old and doesn't need to be dealing with debt collectors. And she's just lovely. And this dental company, this dentist, she hired to put a partial bridge in her mouth. It was uncomfortable, it did not fit. So she complained, she gave it back to them, and they gave her her money back and said, "You are clear, we're giving you a refund." Now, my question, what's the difference between a credit and a debit? I don't think this dental office knows this, and I'm going to show you how, why, and why it's going to lead to a federal lawsuit. In this case, my client was later on told she owes the money they gave her credit for and refunded her. And she said, "What are you talking about?" And she went down to the office. She does things eye to eye. She's very personal. And they assured her, "Whoops, we made a mistake. You don't owe this debt." And this continued. They started to send her letters. She would call. She would go down there. And then they sent the debt that didn't exist to a debt collector. And here's what the debt collector did. Shazam. That's a letter from the debt collector to my client saying not only does she owe the money that they gave her a partial refund for, partial, that's no pun there. Anyway, they charged her $199.50 more, claiming she owes collection fees. Now, as I've said before, every debt buyer lawsuit, every debt collection lawsuit is based upon a contract. Not having the contract not only is a violation of the lawsuit that's being filed against you, but also you cannot say someone's breached the terms and conditions or owes you money based upon a contract that doesn't exist or can't be seen. In this case, the debt collector is saying, we are owed that money 25% because we're collecting upon you. If it's in the contract, they can do that. Rarely is it. It just so happens the money owed is 25%, whatever. But they can charge that 25% as a third-party debt collector if the original contract with the original creditor, which would be the dental office, it's in a contract. There's no contract like that between this poor lady and that dental office. So she knows she's in the right because as she was complaining to the dental office, they sent her her family ledger from the office. Shazam. And you can see right there, it says patient refund $798. Now my question, do you know the difference between a debit and a credit? Look, they've charged her the refund. So now the money that she's already paid, you can see payment, and has been told she's refunded. I'm not sure what they're doing here, but they ended up saying she owes the money they refunded her for. So now they've sent it to a debt collector who's saying not only does she owe the $798 she doesn't owe, she owes more money in fees on the debt she doesn't owe. So that's where I come in. I am now, and I just spent 4 hours writing this lawsuit. I was really angered this poor lady's going through this. One of the things I did before I just went off on them and did a lawsuit is I sent a letter to the debt collector and said, look, here's the facts, here's our own letters. This poor lady wrote her own letters to the various companies, did dispute letters all on her own. Like, I know she's fully capable to do anything she wants to do, but I think she shouldn't have to do all this stuff. And here she is worrying and stressing in her golden years, and they just ignore her. So I attached all her letters, I attached the ledger, I attached everything to the debt collector saying, please do the right thing. But if you're not going to do the right thing, Send me the contract that says you have a right for those charges. Obviously, crickets, didn't hear a thing. And now I'm like, so she's like, I know it's still on my credit. And it is, it's now on her credit report. So I filed a lawsuit. So a Parker lawsuit is unlike anything. You probably couldn't AI a Parker lawsuit. It's convoluted, and I like to bring in facts and make it my own. And how you make it your own is you title it. You know I love my preliminary statements for ANSYS counterclaim or any other document that's going out. Preliminary statement, a brief synopsis, shows the court, a busy court, exactly what this case is about. Let me put it up, Suzanne. This is a federal court case too. And I'll just highlight, Ms. Jones' claim here is based upon the debt collection lawsuit communications of Wakefield and Southburn Dental Care's false allegations of a refund debt being passed on to a debt collector in violation of the FDCPA, the FCCPA, and the FCRA statutes. So I've named this thing so someone can, if you will, put their teeth into it. And it's called the refund debt collection case, all right? So your next part, as you can see, the jurisdiction, you allege why you're in the particular court. We went into federal court. Any debt that you sue someone for, or even if you're being sued for and you want to put it into federal court, you can use the FDCPA and add to it the state statutes. In this case, we've had the FCCPA. Many states have their own collection statutes. Florida's FCCPA is it's better. It's punitive damages. It's a 2-year statute of limitation. And it breaks down things the FDCPA doesn't do. FDCPA is strong federal statute. But in the FCCPA, you can go after the creditor, which you can't do with the FDCPA. And the creditor in this case is the one that made this thing up and passed it on. That's right. We're going to go after the dentist for doing what they shouldn't have done and not just honoring their word to a sweet old lady that meant them no harm, and she gave them the thing back. So we've gone after them under the FCCPA in my complaint. Let me put it up there. 9, threatening to enforce a debt they know is not legitimate. 5, disclosing to another person a debt and affecting the debtor's reputation when they had no right to do that. Whether it's for credit reporting or not, the FCCPA, Florida statute, really protects people. They also have, by the way, Florida has a really strong elder abuse statute, and I thought about putting that in. This poor lady doesn't need this constant with the letters and the promises and people not doing what they promised to do. And also 6, disclosing information concerning the existence of a debt known to be reasonably disputed by the debtor without disclosing that fact. So as you hear me say that, I tell you the facts of this case so you can see how they apply. And that's what you do in a lawsuit. You break down the statute. In this case, it's the FCCPA, the FCRA. Remember, we just did 3 videos last week, one of which was the E and the F video, the power of the E and the F video. So let's just put that up there for you. Remember that? That was all about how great sections of the 1692E really helps consumers. And also we get the ability to say 1692 FU. Actually, we're going to say 1692 F1, but I digress. So we put up first the FCCPA statutory structure for the court, and we just show them why the FCCPA applies. Then we put up the FCRA Permissible Purpose Doctrine. Remember, I just did a video, just Friday. The Impermissible Purpose Doctrine is 1681F. And that says there are 6 reasons why you can contact someone's credit report. There's no 7th reason. So if you're not fitting in those 6 reasons, you can't pull somebody's credit report like they did here. They have no legitimacy, no reason to pursue this refund through a debt collection and then add, it's almost $1,000 on our credit report now. So you detail to the court exactly what this is all about. And you, in my case, I've showed them it's the FCCPA, the FDCPA, and the FCRA under this Permissible Purpose Doctrine. And then you show the court the causes of action. Shazam. First, you're suing defendant South Burnham Wakefield, the debt collector, under the FCCPA and those 3 provisions. Then you're going after the debt collector under the FDCPA, and you break down the sections. You then go after them for them F1, which I love. F1 is saying you have a contract between the parties, you're suing somebody outside of the contract, meaning there's nothing in there saying, and I asked for the contract and they blew me off, showing why they owe that extra amount of money and why it's now on the credit report. It's outrageous what they did to this lady. You sue them under E8, which is the FCRA inside a FDCPA context. It's the same thing. You can't put inaccurate or false claims on somebody's credit report under the FDCPA. And also we went after them for the FCRA Impermissible Purpose Doctrine. So it's chock full of good stuff from those videos that I did last week. I did them with this. I knew I was going to be writing this lawsuit, and I just set my brain to write. So every day I was thinking about how am I going to burn these people for this poor old lady the way they're burning her. And that's what you do. You find the statutes, you incorporate the facts, you add the facts to the statutes, then you come in with your prayer for relief, Shazam, and you break down the 3 causes of actions here. I'm asking for the FDCPA against Wakefield. I'm asking for the FCRA against Wakefield, Shazam. And then lastly, I'm going after both defendants under the FCCPA, Shazam. And that's the breakdown of me trying to protect a little old lady that's just darling and didn't do anything to anybody and tried to work these things out herself and then commanded me not to sue, just do a lawyer letter, which I didn't charge her for or anything like that. And sometimes you just gotta just sue. I don't always want to do that, but in this case cried out for relief. And so I hope that 2 things will happen. The case will be resolved quickly and they'll pay her some money damages because they've ruined her credit and they've caused her all sorts of stress. And secondly, somebody teach the accounting company that did this the difference between debit and credit. All right, because I know you guys know. I hope this helps. I hope this was instructional and educational. Good luck. Go get them. Bye-bye.